What's up, guys? Recording a quick vlog. Crazy things just happened today. Honestly, the last 2 days, 3 days, and none of it is related to my business. Which is like helping me come to a realization that you can stack wins outside of just financial success. And for me, I think for a long time, I've been placing my sense of worth and identity almost even, and any really like real achievements that I'm gonna be so passionate about, quote unquote, is just strictly on the business. And as I grow into more of a well-rounded person, a more, I'd like to say, like intellectual person, and developing more of my paradigms and relationships as well, it helps to like celebrate that. And like, even if it's not financially or monetarily, you can still be a successful person. You could even go to the extent that the person who's the most wealthy isn't the most financially abundant, but the person, and I'm going by one of Luke Belmar's definitions of wealth, the most wealthy person is the person who wakes up with the least amount of pressure on his chest, right? And so even if I haven't been stacking financial wins recently, I mean, November's still been an awesome month for the business. I'm just excited for just other things to come. So I'll kind of go down the list of what's happened in the past few days. Number one, I asked a girl out for like first time. Well, if I'm not counting a like high school relationship, like for the first time outside of my, I guess, school career. And it was a success. I'm super excited and pumped about that. Like, she said yes. And so when I come back to San Antonio this week, we're just gonna go on a date somewhere. It's gonna be cool. But that was like, it's less about this person and less about this date, but more so the accomplishment that I actually was able to sum up the courage and the balls to ask a girl out on a date. And it was my first step forward in progress towards developing my, relationship with a partner. Because I realized you're gonna have to take your future wife on a first date eventually, right? You won't just find your future wife on your lap. So becoming the person who can ask girls out on dates and like be able to talk to women and like just gain that experience, I see it in and of itself invaluable and helpful. So that was number one. Number two, I realized Bitcoin is the future. And it is more than money or it's the realest form of money because it can't get any realer than Bitcoin. I'm just watching putting more hours into my research about crypto technology, Bitcoin's use cases, Bitcoin's irrefutability. It's anti-inflationary, it's divisible, it's secure, it gives power to the people. There's so many pros and literally no cons I can literally find of it as of right now. And I'd like to even go to the extent of like I feel inclined to just tell people about this, especially people who may have opinions against it, and turn into a evangelicist of sorts of Bitcoin, and like be able to objection handle and go through the logical reasoning of how each theory against Bitcoin is actually wrong, and that if literally everyone adopts Bitcoin, the world would be such a better place. inflationary wouldn't exist. Individuals will have power, security over their own money, and preservation of their time, energy, and attention they gave as resources, expendable resources, in the financial system, instead of it being taken away through the printing of money, which comes out of nothing. So it is effectively being stolen from the people who worked for that money with their time and energy. So the system is deliberately designed to keep you enslaved and working for prolonged periods of time, and really like not let you be able to thrive. Because if people take their financial advice seriously and just invest into the S&P 500 and government bonds and things of this nature that only rise like 5-10% a year, if at all that, but the inflation rate is more than this, then it's literally a scam. So I may have not explained that well at all, and some things I could have just said can be challenged upon, but I hope Bitcoiners who may be watching this video can agree, or support my statements with evidence, because I'm still learning how to back up the claims. I just know it's the future. I know people are going to buy in it eventually, and eventually the market cap of Bitcoin will be so high, like in the hundreds of trillions, that like I gotta have the sense of urgency to buy Bitcoin as soon as possible, as much as possible, in the shortest amount of time as possible, and never sell it. Only use it. It's more valuable than gold. Just think about this. If there is an asset that I told you increases on a yearly basis by 50%, is anti-inflationary, you can store it in your own wallet. You know it's in that wallet. You can have it anywhere. You can transact this money through across the world instantly. Nobody can have a say of how you move that money. It's the most sound form of money. You can't like debase the currency. There's only ever going to be 21 million Bitcoin. It doesn't make any sense why you would sell your Bitcoin, let alone be against it. Like, oh, it's so good. It's so good. So, life lesson that I learned over the past couple of weeks, especially it's accelerated. Past few days it's accelerated, but I've known about the future of Bitcoin probably for a few months. Earlier this year I learned about when Luke Belmar was talking about oh yeah, you know, Bitcoin's the future. I didn't really understand why, but now I'm wrapping my head around it, wrapping my head around money, and it's a complete paradigm shift that will change the trajectory of my life. I'm never selling Bitcoin. There's this meme with Neo and Morpheus, and Neo says, "So you're telling me I can sell my Bitcoin for millions one day?" And Morpheus looks at Neo and he says, "No, Neo, I'm telling you, when you're ready, you won't have to." Because it's true. You don't imagine the Bitcoin is more accepted than fiat, than the dollar. It's only going to be inevitable until all businesses, people, how they transact to each other is going to be through Bitcoin or cryptocurrency or whatever, and it'll be agreed upon. It just makes sense. But anyways, another big point about this realization is that I came across this at just the age of 17, which means for the rest of my life I can have this knowledge compound. Everything I learn from now on is going to compound from this one base idea that Bitcoin is the ultimate wealth preservation asset that has ever existed in the world, and that I need to buy as much of it as possible in the shortest amount of time as possible. So sell your houses, sell your boats, sell your stocks, bonds, sell your phones, sell everything you have, and just buy Bitcoin and hold it for dear life. This is not financial advice. Cool. So that's like significant. I'm young that I learned about this, and it's just like I love learning about new paradigms and becoming more conscious and aware of a bigger problem, I guess you could say, about the world. And at this point, it's great that I'm learning about this stuff. So back to like what I was saying earlier in this video, this didn't really impact my business at all, but it impacted my life for sure. And it all started just through information imparted into my mind. If I'm going back to a video I posted, I think in June or July, where I said my mind is actually my greatest asset. It's not Bitcoin, but it is my mind. But it was what was imparted into my mind that allowed me to process the information about Bitcoin, how Bitcoin is actually a very good utilized asset, medium of exchange, and asset to preserve your wealth in. Like, that was actually stemmed from my own self-intelligence, my own thoughts. And so, yeah, you can progress a lot farther than you think through just learning. Sometimes taking a step back is better than trying to plow your way forward. Sometimes taking a step back, looking around you and assessing the situation is a better move than going head first. And taking time to optimize your input strategy. Because like, what is money? Like, everyone's life revolves around this illusory concept of money. And they never even ask themselves the question, what is money? What are they working their entire lives for? What they spent up to 22 years in the education system to strive for, and they don't even know. So this actual concept of money, Bitcoin, central banking, the fiat system, macroeconomics, this transcends everything you do because you actually understand why you're doing it in the first place. Are you following? Do you understand? Like, why would you secure a job and trade your time for money when there's an opposite person on the spectrum who can click a button and print trillions of dollars out of thin air? Are you following? Are you following me? Oh my. How can people not realize this? So, the question is, what is money? I think the ultimate purest form of money is Bitcoin. Okay, then how can I stack the most amount of Bitcoin in the shortest amount of time as possible and never sell it and use it to secure my future? Because I can preserve my wealth for my future family, for future generations. Like, I can have, this is crazy. You can have billions I'll just do this for example. You can have like 100 Bitcoin forever. You can store it in a cold hardware storage wallet, like a physical ledger that you use as a key to access your Bitcoin on the network, right? You can store this thing for as long as it can be stored. You can put it in a safe. You could like pass it down into like a you know how like the tribes did with like necklaces, and then you pass it down to generation. Like, you can have this. Your great grandkid can use that same ledger and access that 100 Bitcoin good as new. Like, it is Bitcoin. It is not the whole ecosystem recognizes it as 100 Bitcoin. It didn't go up and down as like 101 Bitcoin and 99 Bitcoin. It stays at 100 Bitcoin for eternity, because you have the keys to access that money. It's insane. It's ultimate wealth preservation. And so I think this could be a marker to secure my financial future with my family and generations to come. This is awesome. This is awesome. If you're watching this and you're a future if you're a family member of mine, I don't know, 10, 20, 30 years, 50 years down in the future, and you're watching this, Elijah came at 17 years old, making this realization to potentially give you Bitcoin I stack within the next 5 to 10 years, you're welcome. You're welcome. Grandpa Elijah's got you. Great grandpa Elijah's got you. Luckily, I came across, I wouldn't say it's luck. Not luckily. It is my reason why I'm a pro Bitcoin now, because it's not even well adopted yet. So it is actually more of a speculative, for some people, speculative area that they need to research. But I just realized it is the ultimate wealth preservation asset in the world. Anyways, I'll move on. So I secured my first date. I got Bitcoin. The third thing was, I forgot. There was one other thing. Oh yeah. Next week as well, this week after Thanksgiving, I'll also be hosting a Friendsgiving event with some of my old friends at the house, and I'm excited for that, even though I just don't see my friends often, and it's a nice dopaminergic feeling to anticipate the event, you could say, and maybe the event itself, you could argue, but I'm excited for that, and I think that's another aspect outside of business that you can enjoy and have fun, even in the anticipation of the event, to plan. Like, we're going through group chats, we're just like, who's gonna bring what food, just excited to see everyone again and just catch up and say hi and stuff like this. But yeah, I'm excited for that. So all of those didn't directly impact my business. I keep saying that because Clive, how to grow Clive, how to scale paid ads, how to invest in an agency, whatever, blah, 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 has been my lingo, dialogue within the last 8 months. And it's nice to progress and grow in other areas. Honestly, this is what I signed up for. I've signed up for the renewal of my mind and my body and my soul. And to kind of tie this video together and to end it, this is a great book. It is also a great, it's a good book to realize really that everything that transcends this earth is in His kingdom. It's in heaven. It's a place where you'll be eternally with God. That's really all that matters, honestly, is to be with Him. And it's added a lot of peace to my life, accepting Christ into my life, accepting who Jesus really was, accepting my residency in heaven, accepting that nothing in this life will be impermanent, or everything in this life is impermanent, honestly, including my Bitcoin. What is 100 Bitcoin in when the end of the world comes? What's 100 Bitcoin until literally the galaxy explodes? Or according to Christianity, until God makes a new heaven on earth. And that's what will happen for eternity. I'm curious, will they use Bitcoin in heaven? In that new heaven? Will like conventional earthly things still be in Earth 2.0? Because apparently in Christianity, Jesus comes down from heaven. There's this whole apocalyptic world that the world's going to go through before he does that. But when he does, he fights against Satan, he wins the battle, and he establishes his kingdom forever and ever and ever and ever. But if he comes back on Earth, and there's still 21 million Bitcoin on Earth to claim, I don't know, is there going to be, I mean, I assume so, like, unless God just rewrites everything in the world. But I think it'd be cool to like still transact in Bitcoin in heaven. I don't know, I'm just totally thinking to myself. But to wrap it up, the second biggest realization I think this year, well, there's so many paradigm shifts I had this year, but two that I've fundamentally very much appreciated is my revelation about Jesus Christ and my revelation about Bitcoin. I feel like Jesus and Bitcoin were my two revelations that absolutely changed the trajectory of my life in 2024. What a sentence that is to say. I'm going to say that again because it's cool. Jesus and Bitcoin changed the trajectory of my life in 2024. Jesus and Bitcoin, baby. God bless Bitcoin. Like, according to the documentary I watched that helped me come to this realization too, Bitcoin is 100% biblical, and the current fiat inflationary system is actually not biblical. In Isaiah, there's a verse that said, like, we should try our best not to inflate or debase currency, and literally for millennia, for the last 2,000 years, every single government in power, their currency went to zero, historically. The Roman Empire, London, now to be the US, like, historically there's never been a time where the government didn't collapse. So I place my faith, trust, and integrity, of course, into Christ first. But when we're talking about money, it's in Bitcoin. It's irrefutable. It is money. Anyways, I'm probably beating a dead horse at this point, but Elijah Kim, 17 years old, November 24th, 2024. Jesus in Bitcoin, baby. Let's get it. Let's crush it. Peace.